Mountain View is a newly planned community in Sparta, North Carolina that focuses on merging a Torah-centric frum lifestyle with premium luxury mountain living within the infrastructure of a well-designed, well-planned community. Shefa's vision, and we've heard it from people talking about the idea that we're trying to break status quo or challenge status quo. And truthfully, that's an aspect of what we're doing, but we're not rebel risers. We're not looking to create something from new. We're looking to look at our community and take the best of who we are, the best of our chinuch system, the best of our yeshivas, the best of our shuls, the best of our lifestyle, and redesign and rethink that post-COVID, with the advancement of technology and Zoom and all kinds of additional technologies, we don't have to look at our community the same way. That we're able to have more freedom to choose where we want to live and how we want to live, how we want to go to shul and what kind of shul we want to go to. We're able to now lean into the most beautiful aspects of our Masorah, of our tradition, while rethinking, retooling, and redesigning the aspects of our community that have become challenging. Most educators, if you told them sit down with a blank piece of paper and design your own school from scratch with no preconceived notions, they probably would not design the school they're teaching in. Most shuls, if they would start from scratch, Rav comes in, he gets hired. If you would start from scratch, they would probably redesign and rethink and retool their shul differently. The same with how we design the actual places we live. They live in a place like Brooklyn, there's more grids. You live in other places like Boca or South Florida. The communities are a little more haphazardly patched together. But we look at how we design community to have intent and to have kavanah on how we're going to make a place where every aspect of our community is being rethought, retooled, redesigned to celebrate and enhance the greatest aspects of our Masorah, while also improving and enhancing upon those areas that have become obstacles for families in our community. Throughout my adulthood, I've always heard about crises. Jews love to have a crisis. We have a shidduch crisis, a housing crisis. We have a tuition crisis. We have a crisis for almost every aspect of our lives. And the more I got to see the large macro view of the struggles of the modern day frum family, the more it kept dawning on me that we have all these individual challenges, but it all gets rolled up into one main idea, that we have a lifestyle challenge and a lifestyle crisis. That since World War II, we've been told to live in certain communities because of their proximity to our institutions and our infrastructure and the amidst, and we haven't had the ability, probably since before World War II, to break out of that and do something different. Where we can actually start fresh, start from scratch, start in a place where we would choose to live there if we weren't from. One of the greatest things I talk about potential home buyers and potential neighbors in Mountain View all the time, and we all agree that we wouldn't volunteer, we wouldn't wantingly choose to live where we live. We live where we are because of the schools or because of the shuls or because of the restaurants and kosher markets, but we wouldn't voluntarily want to raise our family in these places geographically. And I kept thinking more and more, how do we look towards providing some relief, some nuchas hanefesh for the families that want to raise their children in a beautiful environment physically, where they can feel more attuned and more in touch with nature, where they can feel like they have a school that's not underfunded, that's not overcrowded, that doesn't have rebbeim that are underpaid, that really delivers a chinuch for their children, that's celebrating and focusing on the way each individual child learns. How do we create a Jewish infrastructure that's not a burden on ourselves, but a way to help empower us to live the lives we want to live? Everything from the way we calculate the kosher restaurants, the kosher food, the tuition, the mikvah, the shul, everything about Shefa Living is built on this one idea of allowing Yiddishkeit to be something people plug into and lean into in a way that gives them chizuk and gives them strength and gives them the ability to grow and to raise a family in a healthy and meaningful way without feeling the constant pressure that so many of us have felt in our communities that we're putting on ourselves from the cost of living and the cost of food and the cost of tuition and the cost of day camps and the cost of shuls and the cost of the mikvahs. We're not looking to build a budget community, but Shefa Living is about tapping into the Shefa Sachayim, that flow of goodness that comes from the Shemayim for every single Jew, by giving us the space and the ability to be a makabel, to receive that in a way that we can utilize all of what we are and all of what we want our families to be, L'Shem Shemayim, in a place that gives us that space to do so. When we looked at community, there are some very basic needs that every frum Torah-centric community needs. We need a shul, we need a minyan, we need a mikvah, right? We need an erev. But there are certain aspects of that we can actually rethink and retool. But more importantly, where I think the greatest focus for changing lifestyle or changing the challenges to our costs of our lifestyle is in the kosher food area as well as the chinuch space. So we're looking at creating a grocery store within our commercial properties that aims to be focusing on wholesale delivery of meats, but in a gourmet way, where we've seen co-ops pop up around the country. There's online options. We want to design a real old country store that's really focusing on keeping the price of kosher meats in particular close to cost and leading into a lot of the farm-grown vegetables and fruits that are in the region, as well as some other local vendors for other amenities. When it comes to chinuch, I think this is the greatest challenge. I think it's the greatest opportunity as well for us to kind of retool and rethink. And over the last year, since we've been looking into developing Shefa Living, we've explored the various realms of chinuch. Now, my master's is in education and administration. Granted, it's been quite a few years since I went to school for it, but I've seen and heard horrible stories from our chinuch system. And I volunteer and I teach as a Rebbe in the Yeshiva High School in Boca for boys that really were looking for something different and a different type of structure. And over the last 2 years of teaching there, I've learned to see some of these challenges, not only through the eyes of the parents, but the eyes of the children. And the time has really come for us to reimagine chinuch. The idea of the school system, the secular school system, was born post-industrial revolution. And when we came to America after World War II, some communities started trying to blend and assimilate our school system into what's required in the secular system. So now we've built an entire yeshiva curriculum that's based on a dual curriculum system. Double teachers, double amount of time, double books, double amount of homework, double everything. And over time, all organizations tend to grow to meet the needs of their community, but it's not a symmetrical growth necessarily. And over time, these organizations become, I wouldn't say inefficient, but maybe less efficient. And we've lost focus on the most important thing. In community, the children are not only the future of carrying on our Masorah to go from Lador to Lador, but they're also the ones that have to infuse life into the community. One of the first jobs Baal Shem Tov had was to actually walk children to school, cheder children. And he used to say that the Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbas are the holiest words you could hear coming out of the children in cheder. We have to make sure our children are being empowered and feeling chizuk and being built up, not knocked down, and ensuring that our schools have well-paid professional rebbeim and teachers, that they're not overcrowded. There's a logical and reasonable student-to-teacher ratio. They're focused on curriculum that's not burdensome, but it allows children to experience what they need to learn in a way where they could grow up and apply those skill sets, whether it be from Limudei Kodesh or Limudei Chol, in a way that makes them productive and proud Avdei Hashem and members of our community and the overall secular community. That if a child wants to pursue a career in accounting or as a doctor, or as a lawyer, if a child wants to be a Rebbe and pursue his yeshiva studies beyond, they should be prepared. And most importantly, they should feel empowered by those we've entrusted to educate them during the day. And I think that's one of the greatest challenges. So we've been talking with consultants and professional mechanchim from around the country. We're talking with professional rebbeim to try to figure out and try to redesign not only the curriculum and how we offer that curriculum, but also the overall objectives and style of the school, while not sacrificing what I feel is the most important thing, which is giving the children an opportunity to have a meaningful and healthy relationship with positive rebbeim and rebbetzins who are there to build children up and to empower them and give them the skills and the chizuk to feel connected and feel the vekis, not just to Hashem, but to our community. And that, I think, is the most powerful and most important thing, that a lot of different systems of schooling have sacrificed that relationship, unfortunately. We're looking to ease into that, and we're looking at doing this as close to zero tuition as possible after government funding. And if someone wants to homeschool or someone wants to choose a different option for their own families, we support that. Independent thinking and independent family empowerment is important. But they also want to utilize our rebbeim in the morning to have their children learn, because a lot of parents who are facing the homeschooling question are a little nervous about, when do I teach my kid Vayikra? When do I teach them Gemara Rashi? When do I teach them Mishnayos, and what do we teach them about hashkafa, and at what age is it appropriate to teach them, Rashi's script. So those are some tough questions for parents who may have come from maybe a more secular background, or Bali Tshuva, or even parents who grew up from are not so confident in when to do those things. Being a Rebbe is a very, very challenging position, especially for young children, and not every parent feels skilled in that. So they may want to do homeschooling for their secular studies, which we support, and if they want to utilize our Rebbeim in the morning, we welcome that too. We had a lot of questions about the hashkafa of the community. We've been working for the last year with a Va'ad of Rabbanim that really represent our hashkafa, that represent really what we believe in. We're working with the Tversky family from Milwaukee, with the brothers from Milwaukee and Muncie, and some Rabbanim from the 5 towns, as well as some education consultants, machanchim, that are helping guide us. And not only is everyone excited about the idea, and they describe it in large terms, but everyone feels a sense of chizik and hischadshus that we're actually able to design something on a blank slate and really build on what we've all been proud of in our communities, while sort of trimming away some of those elements that have presented us with challenges or have not worked out the way we thought. It's very important that we believe in Das Torah. It's very important for our home buyers to understand that every element of our community is being designed from a hashkafic standpoint with Das Torah from Va'ad Rabbanim, that we obviously will announce in due time. But we've been talking to them about the chinuch. We have consultants on board talking about the shul, talking about the design of the shul, the mikvah, and how we built out the mikvah, both the men's and the women's, and the eruv, how we're going to direct piskei halacha and shilas we have to the community. We will have a robust, it's a very secular term, but scholars and residence program throughout the year and throughout the summer, where everyone who's on this Va'ad Rabbanim is coming into the community to teach, give shirim, and give access, and really connect with our community members in a way where we will not only have, the idea of a Rav, but Rebbeim and Rabbanim that are all believing in this project, that are all there with us in it at different times throughout the year. So one of the immediate draws to this particular property in North Carolina was that it was a pre-existing gated community. And it was perfectly structured for a community that could be built around central amenities. So when you think about what's my day like, what's my life like in a place like Mountain View in North Carolina, what's my life like as a member of the Shefa community, you really got to pull back a little bit, because everyone envisions that differently for themselves. So all I could share is that for my own self, what I envision, what I hope to see come to fruition, is that this is a place where you wake up in the morning. Almost every room of your home has spectacular views of the nature and the mountains. And when I wake up in Mountain View, when I go up there for work or to visit, currently I wake up and I watch the bunnies, and oddly enough, like these groundhogs running around and lots of deer. But you feel connected. If you've ever been to the Blue Ridge Mountains or the Smoky Mountains, you know a lot of the mornings are very crisp, and you have a fog that kind of like rolls over the mountains. You wake up and you're in one of the most spectacular, beautiful scenic places in America. I've been to Utah, I've been to the Canadian Rockies, I've been to the Poconos and the Catskills. There's something that's just majestic and pulling, this gravitational pull towards the North Carolina mountain ranges. They're just amazing. So you wake up in this place where you feel just a sense of nuchsa nefesh, a sense of connection, a sense of being in Hashem's bria. Then you get to grab your cup of coffee, in my case, probably my second or third, and you walk to shul, in a community where you know everybody, and the shul has a warm, shtibel-like feel that has a place we might have been learning in the morning kolo before davening, where they might have been learning Chumash and Rashi or Gemara or Daf Yomi, or they might have been learning some Chassidus, and they sit and they've learned, and they walk into a Beis Medrash and a shtibel that has that Kol Torah, that has the coffee station, that has a real sense of that this is not only a place to daven and connect to Hashem, but a place to connect to community, and have a beautiful davening, the shul, the shtibel that's there now, as well as the one that we're contemplating in phase 2, has lots of decks and open spaces. You can daven with the sliding walls open and hear nature. And then you walk home, and you get to go home, and either your children are walking to the local yeshiva that we're building, or you're homeschooling, but you're able to connect in a way where you feel community in your bones, and you can work remotely. Maybe it's one of the days you're traveling back to Florida or New York to watch over your business, and you're on your way to Charlotte, whatever it may be. The overall sense of community is not just that we know our neighbors, but we know our neighbors and we celebrate community while also respecting the individuality of each other and our own private spaces. No, not a lot of Jewish communities offer 1 acre lots per home. That offers a lot of space for you to find your own serenity within your own surroundings while not sacrificing the beauty that comes with being part of a kahila and part of a community that's growing and focused on Avodas Hashem. I think one of the more amazing things I look forward to is what Shabbos will be like in Mountain View. A Shabbos where the whole community davens and there's one shul, and if there's a tish that Friday night, there's a geschmack vibe to it, and everyone knows each other, everyone feels connected to each other, everyone, without any sense of judgment, knows all of our struggles. We run a minyan in our shul in Boca, and it's not large, 60 or 80, mispalim on a given Shabbos. On Yom Kippur Shana, someone came over to me and said, it's so powerful to daven on Yom Kippur Shana in a minyan, where I go look around, and I know everyone in their family. I know their struggle. I know what they're working on with their kids. I know their successes. I know how hard they've worked on certain inyanim in their life. And we're in a room together, feeling not only that we're in it for ourselves and our family, and not just superficially, but it's for our community, but I really feel that I know the premium is for our community. In fact, I think our second Rosh Hashanah, everyone gave each other their names. Everyone got names of the families in the minyan, and you ask your friend, you daven for me for this, I'll daven for you for that. There was just such an amazing sense of connectivity. I think that when we talk about Devekis, talk about connecting to Hashem, the word dabak means to connect. And we know you can't connect to Hashem without having Devekis with Am Yisrael first. That part of what we're looking on Shabbos in Mountain View is a place where you have a shul, everyone's connected. You wake up in the morning, you have the men's mikvah open, people can toivel if they want to. They come, they learn a little bit, chabura for davening and hashkafa and machshava. The davening has a bren and an excitement, has slavas to it. The shal shudas means something. We can sing the Zmiris and sing the Gudim together. And when Shabbos leaves, everyone celebrates Havdalah together. There's just a sense of community. And we've seen it in other places. There's sparks of it in every community. But to have an entire town literally celebrating Shabbos together is an amazing concept and an amazing idea. And I think that really draws onto this belief that what Shefa Living is offering through Mountain View is an opportunity to feel connected not only to makam, to space, not only to shana, to time, but also to nefesh, that sense of spirituality that unifies, connects not only all of us, but all of creation. One of the things that Mountain View cherishes is the idea that people who are gravitating and moving towards this idea and towards this vision want to live a more rural life in the mountains of North Carolina. So inevitably, unlike some other communities or unlike some other planned developments, we're not looking to hammer in as many houses per lot of land as we can to maximize our profitability. We're looking to give families space for themselves and for their children, places to grow and to feel a real sense of being in the mountains with that privacy. So how do we do that? How do we find the common ground or the lowest common denominator of building out community that needs proximities to shuls and infrastructure, while offering privacy and that ability for people to feel like they're in their own little mountain retreat, so to speak? And it really boils down to the home designs, how the homes are being designed, how the site map is being laid out. Everyone has their acre of land. Everyone has a home designed by award-winning from designer. Every home's been thought out through from the decks to the front door to the light bulbs to the kosher kitchens to the Pesach kitchens to the size of each bedroom to ensure that whether it be a child's bedroom or an adult's bedroom, it fits 2 full-size beds. Every aspect of the home and the plan of the community is about integrating community and privacy. Sure, you might have see lots of your neighbors on your walk to shul. You might see a few when you're walking on our hiking trails that are planned, and if you're walking through our planned community amenities beyond the ones that are associated with Torah living. If you're at our barn, if you're at our hospitality space, if you're working remotely from one of our reading rooms, whatever you might be, you'll feel community. But when you go and you open your massive, beautiful front door that's on your home, you're entering a private, serene place where you can connect with your family on your own terms. So a lot of people who have been looking through our website, or one of the few hundred who've called us up interested in the first phase of our development, have asked about pricing. And this always goes back to our core value. Our value is to provide quality, premium luxury mountain living that's within reach and within the affordability of most people in our community. Now, the affordability question goes beyond just homes. Of course, you could buy a cheaper home. You buy a cheaper home in lots of communities. But we're building a new build, a quality build. It's not rocket science. You can do the math, divide the square footage by the house. You'll see we're selling at roughly $220 a square foot, which is unheard of from new construction, particularly in the mountains. But I think pretty much anywhere where there's a frum community, you won't find homes going for that reasonable of a price. But our real goal is to create a change in how we view what needs to be affordable in our lives. If you're living in a different community and you're buying a house, you're looking at the cost of the house because the cost of the mortgage is critical in your monthly bills. We're hoping that a large bulk of your monthly bills are being lowered, if not eliminated, by moving to North Carolina. We're hoping to knock out your tuition. There's no more shul dues. There's no more mikvah dues. There's no more Erev dues. We're looking to make sure that the kosher food is as close to cost as possible. Cost of living in North Carolina in general is a lot lower. I first went to what they have there, their equivalent of a Stop and Shop or a Publix. It's called a Food Lion. And we had about 10 guests staying with us, architects, engineers, etc. And I filled up a cart full of food and snacks and whatnot from the Food Lion. I thought, based on my experience in Florida, it would be a few $100 bill. When the bill came out like $140, I just couldn't help but laugh, take a picture of it. Your basic necessities, toothpaste, Coca-Cola, paper plates, everything's just cheaper there than in a lot of the cities where we find ourselves. So we look at the cost of housing. We're not looking to address necessarily that from a price standpoint. We're addressing that from a standpoint of quality and lifestyle. That we're offering quality premium homes at below market prices, while also working to ensure that our community has their quality of life changed, where if you're living somewhere else, this quality of life may be beyond financial reach. But within our community at Mountain View, this is something we're hoping to provide. We're not just building quality homes. We're not just building premium homes. We're not just building a beautifully planned neighborhood. We're also building community. And that means we are taking an achrayas, a responsibility, to ensure that the elements of your life that present you challenges now are thought through and are trying to be either eliminated or alleviated so that your quality of life changes dramatically, that you now could live and afford and have a menuchas hanefesh within your new premium build home, within your luxury. It's very hard, even when you look around the mountains, whether it be the Catskills, Poconos, even North Carolina. It's hard to find reasonably priced, luxurious homes in the mountains that not only take into consideration how do you design a home that allows all of this nature to flow through your home via the windows and the views and the decking, but how do you design those homes in a way that makes sense to a frum family? How do you design those homes where the kitchen makes sense, where the Pesach kitchen, where the bedrooms make sense, where the bathrooms make sense? We have spent a tremendous amount of time in the last year designing homes that lean into the environment we're in, that look to absorb all of that niflei sabare, all of that nature around us through the design of the windows and the overwhelming amounts of decking space, while also blending that with a synergy with what we as frum Jews need in our homes. I came to this location about 1 year ago this January. And I always tell people who come, who want to visit, that you really need 2 days minimum to understand and absorb. Because the first time you get there, it's like literally a shock to your system. You drive on basically one road from Charlotte Airport right to the front gates of Mountain View, and you go through the gates, and you have this immediate sense of relaxation, of connection, of just feeling an expansiveness of the world around you enables you to feel an expansiveness within ourselves. that you look around, and it's not just the crisp air, and it's not just the smells of the forest, it's not just seeing the animals. It's some deeper sense of realizing that this is Hashem's bria, and this is all part of why we're here, is to connect in this world to Hashem and in all places. And you walk the land, you walk Mountain View, and you're surrounded by 3 mountaintops. Our elevation ranges from 2,600 to 3,000 feet, depending where you are in the community. And you see just a beautiful carpet of trees that are draped over these mountains. And you hear the brooks, and you look at the 3 lakes on the property, and you just realize that you could move out of the concrete jungle, like where I live. You move out of these, even suburban areas are no longer suburban, and you move to a place where every morning you could bring that smell of nature, that view of nature, that feeling of that crisp air that you breathe into your lungs. You can bring that into your daily life. And when you talk about the overall area, why I say it's 2 days, I tell everyone who visits Sparta, you need 2 days. Because the first day you don't get it. The first day it's beautiful, some mountains, okay. The drive up from the airport is fantastic, great, great overlooks. But I don't understand, what's really the mila to it. I brought my own wife there, and the first day it was a little tough to understand until the night comes. And at night, the main street, which is a collection of 7 or 8 or 10 really cute shops and restaurants and breweries and, all the things you expect in a small town, the county courthouse and the 2 or 3 lawyers and the barber shop. But it's all done in a very upscale way. There's definitely a resurgence and a revitalization happening in Sparta. We see a lot of the stores are far more modernized. In fact, I look at downtown Sparta and I sometimes see it as when I used to go to Park City in the early 2000s. That's what it looked like. It was these cute local artists that have a little store on Main Street. There's a candle store, Sparta Candle Company, which some people you could Google. It's a relatively well-known brand. They have a tremendous amount of sales online. But you look around, the place is just this cute, quaint town that really celebrates the Appalachian Mountain culture. And as you drive from the town at night, as the sun's setting to Mountain View, you're passing by and you see in the far distance the ranges, the vistas of the mountains going from North Carolina right through Virginia. And you see in the distance these massive gray shadows reaching up to the skies. And the hills in Allegheny County on our roads from Sparta to the Mountain View are lined with cattle that are grazing up the hills. You see just an amazing amount of nature as the sun's setting. The deer and the bunnies and the rabbits and the groundhogs all just coming to life as sun goes down. But the most amazing thing one of the more amazing things about Sparta, that if you love nature, this is a place where you can lean into that lifestyle. Forget the fact that our land that we're building these homes on is stunning and has lakes and rivers and mountains and great views. But if you just look at our website, at the amenities of the county and what's nearby, we're close to well-known ski resorts. So in the winter, if you want to go skiing, it's about an hour and a half away. You want to go tubing or rafting with your kids, the New River, which I'm told is the oldest river in the world outside of the Nile, was the first. The New River cuts through parts of Sparta and wraps around it on its way down the mountain range. There's tubing, there's paddleboarding, there's rafting. There are a few dozen state, local, and national parks all within a half-hour drive. There's hiking, mountain biking. There's endless opportunities. It's also a very agricultural-focused county. So the local community college that's in Sparta offers cheese-making classes and wool looming and wool making or sweater making and how to plant and how to grow crops and all kinds of unique ways to lead into the natural commerce of the town. You drive around Sparta, you're going to find food stands and general markets are selling fresh eggs and vegetables and corn and all the stuff that the farmers grew on their property. Sparta itself has a farmer's market every weekend. They built an actual venue for it in town. It's a town that really celebrates music. So there's a large music festival in the summers, Appalachian and bluegrass music. Throughout the county, there's lots of different artists. So there's lots of art shows. And just within a 20-minute drive of Sparta, you're in a town that's quite a bit larger called West Jefferson. West Jefferson is spectacular. It's got dozens of cute shops. It's got great breweries. It's got almost everything you would need. And then 20 minutes past that, down the mountain, you're getting towards Boone, which is a very large town. Before you hit our mountain, you have the town of Elkin, another large town. I think within an hour, you have a Costco's, a Trader Joe's, a Whole Foods, all within reach. But the actual spot of Sparta is ideal for a few reasons. The nature and the presence of nature and the quaintness and charmness of the town is obviously top of the bill. But also what attracted us to this location is how easy it is to get there from other large Jewish cities. If you look at our website under the amenities, and we list some of the travel times, it's in the brochure, that within 6 hours, you drive to Washington, D.C. / Baltimore, Atlanta, Savannah, Cleveland, Memphis, Nashville. There's a slew of places. One of the nicest things about Sparta is its ease of access to transportation. We have 2 large airports, Charlotte being the biggest one, within an hour, 20-minute drive, which is a straight drive. There's no traffic. It's one road to the airport. That's an international airport that goes pretty much anywhere you need to go to, has daily flights to Florida and New York at very reasonable prices, but also the driving distance to large Jewish communities. You're within 6 hours to communities like Cleveland, Baltimore, D.C., Atlanta, Savannah. You're not far from St. Louis. You're not far from Florida or New York, equally about 10 hours. It's a place where if you need to hop in the car and go away for the weekend to Washington and take the kids for Shabbos in D.C., it's easy to do. Everything's kind of within reach. The ease of access was extremely important to us too when looking at building a mountain community. A lot of people don't realize that mountain communities are mountainous, and you need flat land for runways to build out airports. So having a beautiful mountain town that's that close to an international airport was an important factor for us. Since COVID, Florida saw an explosion of people moving here, as you know. And our minion has a lot of folks that are renting in Florida that are constantly looking for how we're going to buy our house. And the reality is, with 70 or so people looking for homes in our neighborhood, it's nearly impossible everyone will buy a house, just logistically. So often, a lot of our people who dive in with us send me these notices about places that are popping up to move to. We've all heard some of the more common ones of the last couple of years, but one crossed my text message that really caught my eye. I grew up in Florida, and I know as a wealth manager that from spring, when Florida once again gets like sweltering humid temperatures, until November, my clients are mostly not here. They're in Colorado, they're in North Carolina, and it always puzzled me, how is it that From Jews never built even a summer town in North Carolina, like a Catskills equivalent, where like it's shut all year, and come summertime, restaurants open up, the houses open up, the shuls open up. I could never figure out why no one's done that. As a kid, spending my summers in summer camp in North Carolina, it's one of the most amazing places. As an adult, I would go there once a year. Since moving back to Florida, drive up, spend a week, drive back. There's something so beautiful about it. And I just couldn't understand why no one in Boca or in South Florida had the idea of having a summer community. Sure enough, this ad that came to my text message was someone advertising a new From community in North Carolina. And I could not understand who this was. How did I not hear about it? So a few weeks went by, I thought it was totally a joke or a scam. And then finally, I guess I had a frustrating enough of a day with where I lived that I decided to call up the number and see what the story was. The woman answered the phone. She's a realtor. And she starts talking. I start trying to, tie her up with like the right questions. Like, so is there a mikvah? Nope, but there's this and there's that. And there's a mikvah over here and we're building this. Is there an Erev? No, but this. And she had an answer for everything. She knew about Chav Yisrael. She knew about different shchitas. She knew everything. So finally I had to say, living in this town for 10 years, 12 years, how on earth do you know all of these intrinsic details of a Torah lifestyle? And she explained that her 2 children went to Esha Torah, and she's modern Orthodox, but her and her husband, who's a doctor, have always lived in very rural towns, and they moved from Montana to Sparta about 10 or 12 years ago. And when I heard that, like, you know what, I gotta come up, I gotta see it. I came up for the day to see what it was like, and literally flew in, flew out same day from Florida. And like I say all the time, a day's not enough, but it was enough for me in that moment. I was there, I saw she took me to the land. I got to see what the land looked like. You know, initial thought was to buy 10 or 20 acres and just go up with a few families for the summers. I got to see what the town looked like. I got to, you know, experience what the local community college. I went to see the newly built hospital. I went to the newly built wellness center that has an indoor pool and a gym. And the realtor, Amy, did a great job showing me everything Sparta had to offer. And then, you know, I was just really aching to get some time away, just like see it on my own terms. So she brought me to her house. She gave me some of her Chava Israel homemade cheese, quite a wide variety of cheeses, actually. And then she dropped me off in my car, and I went down to the local brewery, which is a new venue. And you would not think you were in Sparta. You would think you were in, Colorado. You would think you were in Denver, or one of these places where the deck space was gorgeous. And at night, in the North Carolina, you just see thousands of stars. You even see the Elon Musk satellites flying overhead on the darkest nights. We have these beautiful thousands and thousands of stars. I've never seen anything like it. And you're on this deck, and there's, you know, bluegrass live band playing. There's music every night. The brewery just reshaped or redefined how I looked at where this community was going. This was not a small mountain town. This was a town that was in a state of growth. And I realized that we could be part of that growth as a large part of that community. And I realized that for the first time, that this was not about creating a summer community. This was about changing and rethinking what we need and what we need to do for ourselves within the Frum community. One of the catalysts, I have a neighbor who knows I volunteer for Masila. He also knows I'm a wealth manager. And he wanted me to look at his family's budget. And he makes a good living. He makes, you know, $250,000 a year. He has 2 kids. And I'm looking at his budget, and I know what he pays for rent. I'm seeing what he pays for food. I know what his kids' tuition costs. And most people who are listening to this are already doing the math in their head. They know if I got 2 kids in school, that's, you know, roughly $40,000 for summer camp. I know I gotta pay taxes. I know I gotta pay a rent or mortgage that's $4,000 or $5,000 a month. I know I've gotta pay for a kosher food that's roughly $1,000 a week for a family of 4, give or take. You're already doing the math with me. You know that at $250 in a place that's that expensive, a place where you have tuition, a place where you have to buy kosher food, a place where you have to spend money on shul dues and dinners and gala drives and journal entries and all the stuff that comes with being a member from community, you've done the math and you know that that person is living paycheck to paycheck. And nothing hurts me more then and now hearing about families that are struggling financially. And a large part of this is because we are cannibalizing ourselves. We're creating our own crises. We're creating the tuition crisis. We're creating the kosher food inflation crisis. We're creating the housing crisis. Because until now, we've been waiting to break out and do something different. And I view Mountain View and I view Shefa Living overall as an opportunity for the first few hundred families in America to say, we really want to do things different. We really don't want to struggle financially. And I know everything's Mishamayim. It's all about Shefa. It's all about what Hashem gives you. You have that bitachon and all of those amazing ideas that we learn in the Sfarim, all true. At the same time, we also have to think about what our hashtadlus is. What's our effort going to be? And how do we connect into the Shefa, into that flow that Hashem has designated for each and every one of us? Are we going to connect to it through a struggle, through overpaying for certain things, or we connect to it through connecting to Hashem's Bria, to the world, to the nature, to creating a new form of chinuch, that our children are celebrated and built up and not felt to ever feel chas v'shalom rejected? How are we going to redefine what we want for ourselves through that prism, through that lens of Torah and the Masorah we've learned, and whether it be your hashkafa Chassidus or Litvish, wherever you're coming from, if you're watching this, you feel this too. If you're coming to Mountain View, you're not just looking for a house, because you can find a house almost anywhere. You're looking for community. You're looking for a different kind of community. You're looking for a community that's focusing, leading into all those things that you've wanted for yourself and have been unable, like me, to find in other communities. There's beauty in every community. We have to always begin with that. Every school, every community, every Rav, everyone's doing their best, and everything's L'Shem Shemayim. Everyone's working hard. Everyone wants best for the Kehillah and best for themselves and their families. No one's denying that, and no one's rising up against that idea. Everyone is doing good. The question is, for us that want something different, can we do better for us? Can we find something that's more aligned to our needs and our values? Do we really think we have to live in a certain place and go into debt and live off credit cards because that makes us look like we belong or fit in? Or can I go to a place where I don't only live, but I thrive, where I don't only have a home, but I have a community, where I don't just have a shul, but a place where my family and my children feel a hislavus and energy for Yiddishkeit and for Torah and mitzvahs? Do I live in a place that I drag my kids to a Avos Abanim, or my kids drag me running to that Avos Abanim? What kind of community do we want to create? And what we're doing is not for everybody. It's not a good fit for everyone. And not everyone really appreciates or understands these needs that we might have. But this is what we are building for and towards. This is the vision that we hope we share with others. And the most amazing, and in my mind, even touching thing, is how many hundreds of families have already reached out to us without us even marketing, without us going heavy into the print ads, into this, into that, just word of mouth. How many families meet with us? And I meet with every family that wants to move there. And they first thing, almost all of them say, thank you for doing this. My family's been waiting for this forever. And some of the calls are really emotional. I'm inspired. They're talking about how this is what a hashkafa they're looking for, and how this is the community they're looking for, and how they understand not everything will be perfect day one, but they'll accept it. They're makabel. They want to be part of this change and part of this movement and part of this rethinking and retooling and redesigning on how we build community and how we support community. A lot of folks ask us, how are we going to ensure that the cost of living from the Jewish amenity side is held in place in perpetuity? Now, of course, we can't control, we're capitalists. We can't control someone opens a store down the block. We can't control somebody opens up a new school and decides to charge tuition. We can only influence what we at Shefa have built and have control over. And one of the things that we are building in this process, me and my partners, as well as even our external partners, our bankers, our mortgage brokers, we're all in the belief that we need a foundation, a charitable foundation called the Shefa Foundation. It's already in place. And that Shefa Foundation is going to be the vehicle in which we contribute enough funds to ensure that as many of these needs are met in perpetuity throughout the lifetime of this community, and for any needs that might arise in the future. This community is for really anyone who's looking for the values and for the vision that we're presenting to the world. I was talking with a home buyer the other day, a potential home buyer, and we by chance, he was from Far Rockaway. So I think part of understanding this dream is really understanding more about where I'm coming from. I spent from 17 years old to 27 learning in Shar Yashiv in Far Rockaway. And that was a long time to be in Beis Medrash. And then I stayed in Far Rockaway for a bit longer. I was very close to my Rebbeim from Brazil, Rav Kurland, Rav Yeager. And what drew me to that yeshiva and kept me there for so long was that it was the first time in my life I understood truly what, I'll take a phrase from the secular world, what big tent Judaism looks like. Meaning, whether where I was for high school and other places, you always define people by, oh, that's a Chabadnik, oh, that's a Chassid, that's a Babavar, that's a Satmar, that's a Litvak, that's a modern Orthodox, that's a this, that's a that. And they're like, well, all these little boxes we tend to put people into. Shar Yashiv was the first time I was in a place, and this is 1997. It was a much smaller yeshiva then than it is today. It was a place where literally the top guy in the top shear could be walking around in flip-flops and jeans, while the guy with the chassish lavush on was wearing olive bays in the olive bay shear. There's a place where there were no more boxes. There was just one massive box that basically said on the outside, if you want to serve Hashem, you'll find a way in here. And everyone who finds their way belongs. One of the most naive things in Torah Judaism is that to think we all have to do something in one general way. If you believe in Hashem, you believe He's Ein Sof, He's infinite, which means logically there's infinite ways within Torah and mitzvahs to serve Him. Within the guidance and gedarim of the Rabbanim and the Masorah and Halacha, there's infinite ways. Some people celebrate davening and connect to that. Some people connect to Chesed. Some people connect to learning. Some people connect to Gemara over Chumash or Chumash over Gemara. But everyone finds their place. Some people actually connect by cleaning up the Beis Medrash, by making the place look clean, the covered shemayim. They'll put their svarim away. They'll wipe the coffee stains off the table. And not just young people. I've seen older gentlemen doing this. People connect in their own way. And I think what Shefa Living, while it's a community and this is about homes and building homes, we're also building that sense of community. And when people ask, who is this community for? I really think it's for everybody. I think everybody is going to find a way to connect to this community from a hashkafic standpoint, connect to the chizik and the chassidus and the Torahs, connect to the world we're building around these houses. The houses is where you build your family, and the community is where the world we're building around your family, where you get to connect and feel a part of something. I think that's really the most amazing thing about what we're hoping to do, is that through celebrating individuality, you get to build true community. So our homes are built with not only premium luxury in mind, but also our community. And let me walk you through what those homes look like. The floor plans are available online. They're in our brochure, but the homes are built in a way where we're welcoming nature into our homes. There are 20-foot cathedral ceilings in the dining room, in the kitchen, in the master bedroom. Whether you're buying a 2, 3, 4, 5 bedroom house, you're going to have massive spaces in the places that Frum Jews care about the most. We focus on large dining rooms. We focus on large kitchens. Honestly, kitchens are kosher with 2 of everything. We're focused on building out the Pesach kitchen and building large bedrooms with their own bathrooms, full bathrooms inside. But I think one of the more interesting things for me about the design is that it took us probably 6 months of working with an award-winning Frum designer on how does the house function, right? A house is not just a place where we go into and we close the doors and it's like a little safe space. It's that end. It has to function well. How does the flow of the house work? When you drive up into the garage, where's the first room you want to come into after the mudroom? What if you're carrying a bunch of laundry bags and you're bringing a bunch of grocery bags? How do you want that flow to work? So we spent 6 months working with a award-winning Frum designer on focusing on functionality within luxury. And I think that idea of functionality within luxury is critical. That not only should your kitchen and the LED lighting and the high ceilings and the marble take your breath away, but it should also be extremely functional. Every aspect of the home has been built with that prism of functionality through luxury, and we've built out that within the space of the mountain environment. So the upper deck, there's a deck that wraps around the master bedroom that offers the master bedroom privacy. The master bedroom has obviously walk-in closets, an elegant bathroom. There's a large patio that stretches the back of the house that opens up from the living room. The front yard, the front porch is a large front porch that offers access to the dining room. If you look at the floor plans, it's actually I was very into. They can open up the front, the walls of the dining room. They can stretch out onto the front porch if you want to have your meal inside, outside in the nicer days of the weather.